Kia ora everyone, welcome back to our next edition of Econ Talks. Gareth, we've seen the latest consumer and business confidence data come out in the last couple of weeks, showing what seems like almost a remarkable turnaround in people's expectations of both the here and now and the future. I mean, the latest ANZ Business Outlook survey showed the highest levels of business confidence in a decade, going back to May 2014, I think, on a seasonally adjusted basis. Looking through the details, there's still quite a lot of challenge in there, but things are still improving. You've got higher, investment intentions, people's expectations around prices and how much further they might go up, again, continuing to sort of be in a better position. Realistically, I mean, what's driving this feeling that we've got the best business confidence in a decade?
Yeah, one of the interesting things for me was, when I first saw the numbers, I was like, oh, well, the Reserve Bank has cut the official cash rate. And so, of course, everyone's going to start to feel a bit more confident that things in 12 months' time are going to be better. We're kind of at the bottom of the cycle and things will improve from here. But ANZ did say in their release that, in fact, even before the Reserve Bank cut had come through, that the responses to the survey had improved markedly in terms of people's expectations about the future. So it's not just an interest rate story. Maybe there's something else at play there as well. What was also interesting for me, though, was when you look at some of the other numbers underneath that, own activity expectations, and that's normally quite a good indicator of where the economy is going. That's at its highest level in 7 years, but people's experience of their own current activity didn't show the same bounce that we saw in a lot of those other indicators. So it does reinforce to me that conditions now for businesses are still really, really tough. But there is an expectation coming through that give it 12 months, things will have improved. It's hard to know whether there's a lot of substance behind that, but it certainly is a remarkable turnaround in terms of some of those numbers that have come through in the survey.
Definitely. I mean, when you've got those sort of figures on a season adjusted basis at around I think it's 50% on net businesses expect sort of an economic improvement in 12 months' time. You do have to wonder, like you say, given how challenging economic conditions feel like they are right here, right now, if some of that is almost a view from businesses that surely next year can't be as bad as this, surely anything's got to be better than the current sort of economic environment. So maybe a bit of that bias coming through, but also, like you say, I feel like the writing had started to come through on the wall a bit more about interest rate relief. So businesses probably thinking about that, anticipating it to a degree. Now that you've got actual interest rate relief that's starting to be delivered, doesn't change the game, like you say, for a business in the next sort of couple of weeks, but it does make a bit more of a difference into the future. Now, you've also had a bit of a look at the latest consumer confidence figures, not quite as much of a bounce as the business figures, it seems.
No, only up a couple of points rather than the sort of 30-odd points that we were seeing in the business confidence. So consumers still feeling pretty pessimistic when you ask them about their current financial situation. And again, it's a reflection, I think, a bit of a dichotomy between how they feel about the here and now and expectations about the future. Now, they're certainly nowhere near as optimistic about the future as businesses, but feeling better about where things are going in 12 months' time than you're seeing for the responses around current conditions as well. So look, it may be another couple of months and you start to see the effect of those interest rate cuts and falling mortgage rates coming through and impacting a bit more on consumer confidence numbers. But of course, we know at the same time that consumers and households are still grappling with a rising unemployment rate, a lack of job opportunities. So it might well be that consumer confidence remains subdued for a bit longer.
And that's the thing, right? I mean, there are all these delays in the economic system that means that unemployment will continue to rise probably for the next, 6 to 9 months or so. Out the other side, once interest rate relief, which has started to emerge now, once people actually get access to that when they refix their mortgage and similar, that's where you start to see maybe a bit of a shift in sort of economic trends. But it's not going to be quite as immediate. You see that in both the business and consumer confidence figures. But definitely, I think, also building into that picture that we've been talking about surviving till 25, about those greener shoots that are around the corner. There seems to be a bit more belief in those greener shoots coming through, but we'll be wanting to see a little bit more actual data rather than just sentiment shifts to sort of confirm that. We'll assess how all of the different confidence measures and actual economic indicators go over the next couple of months in one of our future editions of Econ Talks.